It was a shock when I first got told that I was to get a mastectomy, but to me I was getting rid of something that shouldn't be in my body and I wanted that out of there.
It's just after midday and Helen Sloan's operation begins. The 65-year-old first discovered a lump in her breast in March.
So the purpose is to try and remove the breast tissue and leave everything else behind. 15 years ago, patients would have stayed in for a week after their operation. We'd already cut that down to people just staying in overnight. But they'd normally have a drain in, which is like a thin rubber tube coming out of the mastectomy wound. Anytime you've got something going into your body, like a drain, there's a possibility of it introducing infection.
Surgeons in Fife began using this technique in May. Essentially, the operation is the same until the end. Instead of inserting a drain, they use a special type of glue. This glue is more commonly used in surgeries, including orthopaedics.
Take a bit of wash out and then we'll almost be ready for the tissue. It's fibrin glue, which is a thing that your body makes to kind of clot blood. So this glue reduces the risk of there being any bleeding in the wound. So we don't need to drain out any excess blood or fluid because we're stopping that from being produced. If we can do this procedure without a drain, it's a big advantage for the patients.
For Helen, this meant she was able to go home to Glenrothes within hours of leaving the operating theatre.
I was very happy I didn't have to stay there overnight, definitely, yeah. I'm feeling absolutely fine. I'm really surprised myself at how I feel, because it was quite daunting going in to actually get that, because it's the unknown. I'd been watching my little grandson on a little video before I went in. You need things like that to distract you.
When I went down to pick her up at 6:30, I thought, have you had an operation? I was amazed at how quickly she was up on her feet and out of the hospital. She's not the best patient, you know. But so I've got to put up with it all instead of the nurses.
For some patients, it's a little more difficult. Traditionally, they would expect to be able to stay in hospital. They might choose to stay at the moment, and I think in time that will change as this becomes more familiar and patients realise that it's safe. Nobody would be asked to go home if they didn't feel that that's what they wanted to do.
Across Scotland, urgent cancer care has continued throughout the pandemic, but breast reconstruction following a mastectomy has not. There is also a growing backlog of other surgeries and day procedures.
The intention is to improve patient experience, but you're right, a side effect of all of this is that we're potentially allowing us to do more surgery and having more beds for other patients.
Helen says her aim is now to keep positive as she waits to find out the next step in her treatment.
To me, it was better me getting home, and for anybody else that has fear of going into hospital and didn't like being there and noise and everything that goes on, you don't get your sleep. You know, it just makes all the difference.
Sharon Brew, STV News.